Hi, I'm Chuck Olenek. I'm a reenactor. And that means I am involved in living history. Trying to make history come alive. And for 36 years in the classroom, I used that to try to breathe life into a subject that a lot of my students considered to be as dead as the people we were studying. And to that end, I would gather garb for the time period and wear that all day in class. I got a lot of weird looks. And I would bring in artifacts, whether they were authentic or they were replicas, and teachers would call that manipulatives or realia. This is stuff you could touch. And this would be essentially, the way a colleague phrased it, a portable museum that was kid-friendly. Well, after 36 years of teaching, I have a room full of garb at the house, plus a lot of things lying around the house like realia. And I have a passion for bringing the past to life. That's still there because I'm also involved in reenactment organizations. And I have a desire to preserve landmarks because those tend to go away. So what I'm on, I very pretentiously like to call it my mission Odyssey, is I'm visiting each of the missions, assistencias, those are the spin-off missions, and the Presidios, those are the fortifications to protect the missions in Alta California, which means something like 21, actually 23 missions. We'll talk about that stuff later. And about 8, maybe 10 assistencias and 5 Presidios. And then we'll see what I do when I run out of things to film there. So what we are doing today, I am driving the 48 miles from Asistencia Santa Isabel, which was set up in more or less the backcountry of the Padres. This was the backcountry of San Diego County. And I was driving to Mission San Diego, but instead I'm going to drive another 5 miles and I'm going to visit the site of El Presidio de San Diego, which is basically remnants. Some stuff's been recreated, but we're going to go there and see what we can see and try to unravel the past. I hope you'll stick with me. There are various dates given for the arrival of the sacred expedition, which settled atop the hill above the Kumeyaay village. What is known is they had to build a hospital almost immediately to deal with the cases of scurvy. What is agreed upon is in mid-July of 1769, a cross is raised. This is not the original cross. And Mission San Diego de la Cala is begun by Father Serra. The Kumeyaay, outnumbering the colonists by 5,000, viewed the Padres as powerful shaman and resisted being baptized and becoming Christians. A month after the mission was established, at the top of this hill, in an area where there were 5,000 Kumeyaay or Tipai, Southern Kumeyaay, there was an attack on the Presidio and the mission. And the mission was only, or the Presidio was only defended by earthenwork walls. after that, it was pretty much decided, okay, we have to get very serious about this. So the soldados de cuero, the leather coat soldiers, calling them that because they're wearing leather, hey, that works, ended up building wooden walls at first. They acquired a couple of cannon. One was pointed towards the sea, towards the coast. One was pointed down the hill at the village of Kumeyaay. The initial years for the Presidio and mission were a struggle, and the colonization effort almost was abandoned. On March 19, 1770, a supply ship, the San Antonio, arrived from San Blas. By 1773, there's a wall around the Presidio. We're feeling a bit more secure. And remember, there is also a cannon pointed down the hill at the village of Kumeyaay, just in case things get a little weird. And by 1774, the Padres want to move the mission. And they want to move for several reasons. One, they're seeing land about 5 miles away. It's got fertile soil. They want to take advantage of that. And there's another reason. They want to move the neophytes away from what they consider to be the bad influence of the soldados de cuero, the leather coats, because they weren't behaving quite the way things were being taught from the Bible. So what's going to end up happening is in 1774, Padres move away. They establish the new mission, or the new site of the new mission. Okay, now 1775, there's enough resentment that's built up that the mission was attacked, and there was a Padre killed, a carpenter killed, a blacksmith killed, and the mission's burned to the ground, and it's looted. And the Kumeyaay have taken religious artifacts, they've taken trinkets, they've taken all kinds of stuff. And they told the soldados, get this stuff back. And the Padres, interestingly enough, they were not blaming the Kumeyaay or Tupai, they were blaming Satan. Soldados had a different view on the matter and like, yeah, that's nice. We're going to go get the stuff. And they questioned a lot of people. And they were pretty ruthless about it. In the meantime, the Padres are now starting to build a temporary chapel. You know, they're just throwing stuff together. Well, a number of the people were caught. And the thing is, one of the leaders of the attack on the mission took sanctuary within the temporary structure of the chapel. And soldiers were ordered, go get this guy. So the leader ended up being excommunicated by the church. After the insurrection, some villages limited their interaction with the mission, while others embraced the Catholic world. In 1822, news reached Alta California that Mexico had gained its independence, and the Mexican military took control of the Presidio. And this, for about a 4-year period, 5-year period, was the actual capital of Alta California and Baja California for a while. Things are going to change. By the way, it's now gotten a lot calmer with the natives, and what is going to end up happening is you will have people that were living inside the Presidio, remember the 126? They're going to start moving out because they have plots of land around here, and they're going to start building homes closer to the plots of land because that's going to be more convenient and they don't feel as threatened. The San Diego Presidio remained the seat of military power in California. The first of the 5 Presidios, it formed the base for Spain's expansion into California. It ultimately was responsible for the defense of the missions at San Diego, San Luis Reyes, San Juan Capistrano, and San Gabriel. One of the other changes that folks in San Diego and in other areas of now Mexican California are going to have to get used to is Yankees are showing up. And they were coming in on their ships. Some were involved in legal trade. Some were involved in smuggling. There was definitely an interest in tanned leather hides, or what were being referred to as California dollars. And Yankees of this type were welcomed in if they were coming from the sea, because this was a gradual process. Maybe the Mexican government felt not that many of them could show up, and they were welcomed into citizenship. They were welcomed into the church, and things are going to go okay for a while. This is all going to change in 1826. Jedediah Smith, an American explorer and mountain man, comes overland. This makes the Mexican government really uncomfortable, because now they're envisioning a whole influx of Yankees. And so what ends up happening is Jedediah comes in at the Asistencia at San Bernardino de Sena, and he's given directions. He goes to the next important place. That's going to be Mission San Gabriel. Mexican government finds out that he's there. The governor specifically has Jedediah arrested, and he's brought down to San Diego to stand trial because he's viewed as a spy. And one of the things that will end up happening is those Yankee traders we were talking about, the sailors, they interceded on his behalf. And so it was agreed Jedediah would get to leave. He would get to go home, provided he went the way he came. And what he will end up doing is, okay, he'll go back up to Mission San Gabriel, and from there he's going to go on to the Asistencia at San Bernardino. And instead of continuing east, he made a left turn and he went north. So he's not following the agreement, but he's following it as far as he's concerned. Oh, and he's going to come back like a year later, and he's going to go to the Asistencia, and then he's going to go to Mission San Gabriel, and as he goes north, he stops off at Mission San Jose, and he runs into the same governor who has him arrested again and has him kicked out of the country. So there's the Presidio at the top of the hill, and in the later 1820s, there's a collection of, what was the phrase, rude huts at the bottom of the hill that signified San Diego. And in 1835, feeling that things are pacified enough, the Pueblo of San Diego is declared. And in the meantime, the number of soldados in the Presidio has been diminishing. A lot of them haven't been paid. A lot of them are leaving, and they're taking up farming. And one of the things that will end up happening is the Presidio gets scavenged, and people are looking for building materials. So that's going to help build the Pueblo of San Diego, which, by the way, is in like Old Town. In 1846, war between Mexico and the United States breaks out, and the United States will send ships from the Sandwich Islands. And the first one to arrive is the USS Cyan under the command of a man named DuPont. DuPont orders his troops up Presidio Hill. But remember, there's no Presidio anymore. And that other fortification, it's been abandoned too. It's in pretty bad shape. So he orders that the other fortification get reinforced. Mexico will defeat the defenders in the fort, and the Mexican flag flies once again over San Diego. The Mexican forces will be able to hold on to Fort DuPont for only a very short time, because what will happen is on October 31st, 1846, Commodore Robert Stockton arrives with his flagship, the 60-gun frigate USS Congress, and he will launch an assault which will take back the fort. It will be renamed after him, and forces will change. At one point, the Mormon Battalion during the Mexican War will be stationed here, but when the war ends in 1848, pretty much the fortress was abandoned. The site of El Presidio was rescued from complete oblivion when 37 acres of the surrounding land were donated to the city of San Diego. San Diego transformed the land into a formally landscaped public park. Too little of the actual Presidio remained to attempt a reconstruction. The ruins were covered with earthworks. Their outlines were indicated by a simple adobe wall. So, we are down 3 assistencias, 1 out of 5 Presidios. And now I'm on my way to Mission Basilica, San Diego, which is just over 5 miles from here. So I hope you stick with me on this journey.
Que picaron las avispas, pero me comí el banal.